Hello and welcome back to my channel. Been to group this morning and I really believe I've come back with the result I deserved, and I'm going to explain why. As I said in last week's video, I had a box of Reese's peanut butter bites, or whatever they're called. Anyway, it was a box about so big. And I had planned to eat them on Saturday and then decided not to, but I did have them on Sunday when we came back from a particularly cold and very wet walk. And I enjoyed them. They didn't last me, but, well, they didn't last me any longer than a few minutes. I'm greedy with things like that. And can I be honest and say I didn't even really enjoy them? It's like Maltesers with me. The first two taste great, the next 6 taste good, and after that you stuff them down for the sake of it. And I thought I had gotten away from behaviour like that, but obviously not, because the peanut butter bites went in by the handful. And I can't say it was a hugely pleasurable experience. So I won't be doing that again, but I was grateful to the friend who brought me back from a holiday. Right, the other thing I was doing this week was going out for dinner on Tuesday night. Took a very special friend out for her 83rd birthday to the restaurant that we went to for my birthday in September. And I'm going to tell you what I had to eat. And not because I want to make you hungry, but just to be totally honest with myself on the video. I chose to start with celeriac and Bramley apple soup, which was topped with truffle oil and served with garlic toast, which was a bit like Melba toast. Very, very crisp and crunchy, but extremely garlicky. I also had 3 pieces of focaccia, which had hot chilies and fennel seeds in it and was topped with really crunchy sea salt. And yes, I'm a pig. I ate my piece and Joe's piece and Val's piece. And that's what I'm like around bread. That's why I don't usually eat bread. But you know, those old behaviours that you think you're in control of, they are still there. I felt like I was in control because I wasn't like stuffing it down my throat as if there was no tomorrow. But in all sincerity, I'd have been better saying to the waiter, don't bring us the focaccia, because I know that I'll eat it, because I know they won't. So I had that. For my main course, I had Moroccan lamb, which was in a really nice sauce, and served with quinoa in, again, in a sort of sauce, but it had almonds and dried apricots. And then it was topped with a little sort of, quite an unusual bhaji. Well, it was a bhaji, but it wasn't like an Indian onion bhaji. I don't know how to explain it. And then that was served with green beans, and it was truly amazing. Beautiful food. Then my friend and I had a dessert, and I opted for the peanut butter, dark chocolate, clotted cream tart, which was sort of a slice of a tart but had no pastry. It was like layered and quite solid and baked and delicious, but it had no pastry. And with that I had a scoop of salted caramel ice cream. It was really, really nice. I allowed 75 syns for my meal, and on each of the other days of the week. I disregarded the peanut butter thingies because I just, if I'm honest, I didn't know. I didn't look them up, I didn't count them, I didn't enjoy them. I think in my head I persuaded myself I didn't have them. But I allowed 5 syns a day for the rest of my week, and that's what I stuck to. So over my syns for the week, but probably not too far over, because I maybe had overestimated on the meal, because quite a few of the ingredients would have been free. It was just the luxury extras that weren't. Anyway, went to group this morning, stood in the queue quite comfortably, quite confidently, thinking, because I've upped my walking this week and I walked 53.84 miles, because I've watched my syns for the rest of the week, because I've eaten plenty of speed as I always do, been making some really good speed soups, eating lots of veg with my main meals, because of all that, I believed I deserved a maintain. What I actually got was a £1 loss. So today excuse me, just been having my breakfast rather late. Today I hit the 10 stone, which is £7 under target and a 12 stone loss in total. I'm really, really pleased with that. I never set off at the start of this journey to get to a 12 stone loss. My initial target was to get to an 8 stone loss. That was what my consultant at the hospital had said was achievable. So an 8 stone loss would have taken me to about 14 stone. And as you all know, when I was 13 stone 8, I then joined Slimming World. So I've now lost 3 stone 8 pounds with Slimming World. As I say, I'm £7 below target. So in effect, I'm not a target member, am I? I'm out of target. And I could opt to reset my target now because of that £7, which is what you need to drop to move target. I could opt to reset my target at 10 stone. But I'm not in a hurry to do that because I still don't really know where I want to be. When I first joined Slimming World age 19, I joined at 10 stone. I was telling Joe earlier, before joining Slimming World at that age, I had been dieting and lost about 1.5 stone calorie counting. And this was back in the day when you could go into your local newsagents, buy a little paperback book that listed calories, and that's how we calorie counted. And I could see in those days enough to read a calorie counting book and keep a notebook of calories. Looking back on it from today, I would not choose to do calorie counting today. I think it would do my head in. I love the simplicity of Slimming World. Very little weighing, very little measuring, not too much calculating of any type, but lots of good food, and that works for me. So I'm happy today. I'm happy to be 10 stone. In fact, I'm ecstatic to be 10 stone. And maybe I'll stop at 10 stone, maybe I'll call target at 10 stone. Maybe I don't know, maybe I'll wait and see. I was watching a video last week, I think it was one of Clarissa Coote, and she said, you know, we've come this far, why quit too soon? And she was spot on there, because when I first set target at 10 stone 10, which seemed incredible to me, I quit too soon. And then my Slimming World consultant was gracious enough to let me drop it to 10 stone 7, but from there I have to drop £7 to move target. If I had waited until I truly knew I was where I wanted to be, I think I could have taken a bit of stress out of the end of the journey. What I did was I called target in a way to save myself £5 a week, which is crackers, because I still pay £5 to go to group now. I also put away £5 a week in my little pot for being at or under target. And I think my pot hit £240 last week. So in 4 weeks' time, I'll be a year at or below target. And that feels incredible. I never managed it for a week before now. I used to get somewhere near where I wanted to be, and after a week I'd be going up again. This time I believe I'm staying more or less where I am because my habits have changed. Anyway, group this morning, big group again, pouring with rain, so you know it's Saturday and it's Slimming World. Masses of puddles in the car park. Bless him, he finds somewhere to park where I'm not getting out into a puddle, even if Joe is. He's kind like that. It was a very, very good group. We had a lot of laughter this morning. We had some amazing awards. We had some brilliant weight losses. A lady joined last week and lost £7.5 in her first week. A chap joined and lost £9 in his first week. And we had, I think, 6 awards given out this morning. Some of them sizable awards, you know, some half stones, but some 2.5 plus stones. And you sit there and you really do believe in the plan because you see it working in front of your eyes. And it's just more and more encouragement. The subject of discussion in group this morning was probably very much like it's been in most groups this week, and it was alcohol. And Naomi had quite a display of lagers and beers and things like Coors Light, and we even had Guinness, which is 10 cents for a pint if you want to know that, if you like it. I like it. Don't drink it these days though. Lots of measures of things like gin and Jack Daniels and vodka and such like. And I noticed on a lot of the things that Slimming World do and what was quoted in group this morning, they start by quoting a 25 ml measure. Who has a 25 ml measure? Nobody I know. I grew up in a pub, so one of the things I queried in group this morning was, when I was young and lived in a pub standard measure was 35 mils, and it still is. And quite a few people verified that, including a lady who owns a pub. And we were talking about that, and we were talking about, you know, all these quotes of 3 syns for 25 mils. In reality, it's more 4.5 syns for a pub measure. And it's good to be aware of that if you're going out for a drink later tonight, because it does make a big difference. Another thing to be very aware of is lots of pubs today automatically serve double measures. So they do a single or a double, and the double measure is often not much more expensive than the single, and they're doing it automatically. So if you walk up to a bar, I would say in 8 out of 10 pubs today, if you ask for a gin and tonic, you will be served a double gin. Now, just to be mindful that a double gin can be 9 syns. Now, I don't know about you, but if I choose to drink, you know, a double gin slips down nicely. In fact, 2 or 3 of them slip down nicely. And if I had 3 double gins on a night out, that would be 27 syns. And I know what would follow that. I'd want to come out of the pub and start eating, or even start eating before I left the pub. These are the things that catch us out. One of the things we were talking about was, how can you make your alcohol go further? Well, we can have spritzers and things like that, and that's not my drink of choice. I don't mind diluting a gin with tonic, slimline tonic. I'm not a soda water girl, except that I do like a lime and soda occasionally. But again, we need to be mindful, because my friend and I, when we drink out on a Thursday night, neither of us drink alcohol the majority of the time, would often opt for lime and sodas. Now, my friend has lost a lot more weight than me. She looks amazing, but she's very observant about, she loves to eat out, she eats out, she cooks good food and all this, but she's very observant. She also used to be the landlady of a pub, so she's very aware of what happens behind the bar, and she'll spot it if they go to the tap for full flat Coke instead of Diet Coke, and it happens, it's happened to us. She'll also spot it when they put the lime cordial into your soda. One night we were in our local pub and they put 6 measures of lime cordial into my soda water, and she asked them to pour it away, make me another one and put 1 measure in, because on average a shot of lime for a lime and soda is 1 syn. So 6 of them would have made that drink 6 syns, and it's just not worth it. So it's about being aware, and I'm lucky because even though I don't see, I have people around me who look out for me. So Joe would notice things like that. My friend that I regularly go out with is very observant about things like that. And the thing is, you can let it slide and you can think, oh, it's only going to happen once. But it's still going to push you over on your sins that day. Or you'd have to sacrifice something else to fit in those sins. And is it worth it for a glass of lime and soda? 6 sins? Not in my book. So it was really interesting. Did you know, for example, if you're not going to group, you may not have heard that this week, a bottle of Prosecco is 30 syns. It's not a lot, is it? I mean, it's not a lot of Prosecco, it's a lot of syns. You soon get through a bottle of Prosecco. The average, you know, when we talk about a 250 millilitre glass of wine, you only get 3 of those out of a bottle. It's quite scary, really. And, you know, some of those good wines are creeping up 12.5, 13, 14 syns. Big numbers, aren't they? Anyway, we all were left at the end of the discussion in group thinking, yeah, we need to be a bit more aware of the syns that we're using on drinks, whether they're alcoholic or soft drinks. A lady was telling me in group today that the pub I regularly use is now serving Sprite Zero on tap, so that's handy. I like that. One of the things we've done latterly, if I want a large cup of flat white coffee in Costa, Joe found a little jar that just held 133 mils of milk, which is a third of my Healthy Extra A, because I have skimmed goat's milk usually. And when we go into Costa now, I'll buy a small black Americano, but ask for it in the medium-sized cup, and Joe just tops it up with my milk. That makes that drink free and a third of my Healthy Extra A, where in reality, if I order it as a flat white, I think it's 9.5 syns. Big difference. And Joe has often said to me on this journey, stop drinking your syns. It's a waste. Because there are so many drinks out there that you can make free or nearly free. Now, one of the interesting things Naomi mentioned today, and I thought this was really good, mulled wine, a large glass of or a mug of mulled wine. Now, don't quote me exactly, but I think she said can be up to 25 syns. What she recommended we do was take some of the Ribena winter spice, warm it in a pan, drop in a cinnamon stick and a slice or two of orange, and then add a measure of alcohol, usually probably brandy, for 4 syns. You've got mulled wine there for 4 syns instead of 20 odd. And lots of people who like to drink more wine said, yeah, we're going to try that, because that's a massive difference. So yeah, Joe's helped me a lot over the last number of months by continually reminding me, Mum, stop drinking your syns. And as somebody who doesn't drink alcohol very often, I don't choose to drink alcohol very often, I'm not teetotal, but as somebody who doesn't drink alcohol very often, I would not be wasting my syns on alcohol. But the number of drinks out there you can waste your syns on. You know, I go to Costa minimum 5 times a week. I'm now drinking a cortado for about 5.5 syns. As I said, I was having flat whites. I noticed this week that they've got a Lindt hot chocolate drink, and I thought, yum, like Lindt chocolate. When we looked on the calories, it's 163 calories, which makes it 8 syns. And you think, well, 8 syns for a hot chocolate, that's really worth something. It's that big, literally. It's the size of a cortado. I don't know if you're familiar with a cortado, but it's that big. And it's 8 syns. And I think in 3 or 4 swallows it would be gone. So we'll try one before Christmas and count the 8 syns. But is it worth it? Not to me, I don't think. Except on a day when I've got syns to spare. So excellent group, as ever. Lots of discussion, lots of good results, and a good place to be this morning when it was raining. So, my word for this week is slowly. Now this comes out of something again that Joe has been teaching me over the past 18 months. He wants me to learn, or no, I will say I've learnt it now, haven't I, Joe? He's taught me to eat slowly, because I've always been a person who bolted my food down. If we sat down as a family to eat, I'd always be the first one to finish. I think I took that from my dad. My dad would have finished half of his Sunday lunch before most of us had picked our knives and forks up. Very fast eater. I've got friends who are extremely fast eaters. And my husband, Richard, he'd probably be watching this video at some point. Richard's quite a fast eater. He probably got that from me. Joe is a very slow eater. And Joe swears by the fact that if you eat slowly, you feel more satiated. Now, I've been practicing it, and it didn't come easy to me. So one of the things Joe recommended was opting for smaller cutlery, you know, so you can't just literally shovel it in. So now when I eat my overnight Weetabix or overnight oats, that kind of thing, I have a latte spoon, which is a bit like a big teaspoon on a long handle. Yeah, Joe, get one to show you. And what I'm finding, now, don't get me wrong, I've told you time after time after time on this video that I am a greedy person. I don't mean I used to be a greedy person. I know I still am a greedy person, and I think I always will be. But I have to find ways of managing this. And one of the easiest ways that Joe saw was for me to actually slow down actually enjoy my food, savour my food, and not just shovel it into my mouth like there was no tomorrow. I always used to eat with this spoon. So if I was having my overnight oats, my soup, my whatever, I'd go for this spoon. And piled high, shove it in, shove it in. Now I go for this spoon, which is probably half.
You can hold them a little bit closer, just up. Yeah, perfect.
That's probably half the size of the mouthful I used to take. And I actually chew my food and I savour my food. And often, you know, if this is savoury food, the spices, the flavourings come out, whereas before it was halfway down my throat before I would have even noticed it was savoury food. I don't rush my meals anymore. I tell you what I do in the morning. There's a young lady who vlogs called Jane SW, and Monday to Friday Jane puts up a really good vlog, which is usually around the half-hour mark, or sometimes just under, sometimes just over. I sit down with Jane every morning and I have breakfast, and Jane finishes before I do. Now, I used to eat my, you know, I have my apple, my 2 eggs, my overnight Weetabix, whatever. I used to finish that in like 6 or 7 minutes flat. I now make it last for the duration of Jane's videos, and I thoroughly enjoy it. And when I've finished, I'm full. Now, I always used to push my food down so fast that by the time I'd finished, I was like scratching my head, because have I really eaten all of that? It just didn't register. And what Joe's taught me is that eating my food slowly, savouring my food, enjoying my food, I actually know now what it feels like to be satisfied by food. Now, I was the girl who used to do sneaky things like, we were going out, so I'd say to my husband, you get the car out the garage, darling, and he'll laugh if he watches this. You get the car out of the garage, darling, and by the time you're at the end of the drive, I'll pop out and lock the back door behind me, you know, the usual stuff, bring the shopping bags or whatever. In the time it took Richard to back the car out of the garage and down the drive, I would be shoveling something into my mouth. And you'd be amazed. You know, it took him probably 90 seconds. You'd be amazed what I could eat in 90 seconds. Now, it never touched the sides. It never satisfied me. It generally left me wanting more. And I know today that that is not the way to eat. So whatever I'm choosing to eat, you know, even the other day I had a packet of Rivita Minis, which don't seem to be around in many places anymore. But I actually ate them one by one and chewed them and enjoyed them. The old me would have had 3 packets and just shoved them down 3 at a time. So this eating slower, digesting my food better, is having quite a good effect on my relationship with food. I'm all the time trying to improve the quality of my food and my relationship with food, so that I react very differently to food. I mean, somebody said to me in group this morning, oh, do you fancy a box of these salted caramel hi-fi bars? They're going to be stopping soon. And I looked at them and I thought, you can only have one of those for a healthy extra B. So I said, no. She said, well, we could sit and have a couple each in group, because we've just been weighed. Sit and have a couple in group. Nice thought. I'd have enjoyed them probably. I might have wolfed them down so nobody noticed I had 2 rather than 1. But that would have been 12 sins, just blown away in the wind. And today, I don't want to do things like that. Now, at one time, I could have sat down with a whole box, just wolfed them down, got rid of the box and hoped to God nobody noticed. You know? So this whole journey of weight loss is so much more than just being on a diet. It is improving and changing my relationship with food all the time. It's strategies for coping with emotional eating. But for this week, the focus has been on eating slowly. Well, it has been for a while now. And I'm actually starting to reap the rewards of eating slowly and knowing what it feels like to feel satisfied, and actually look back over a meal and think, do you know what? That was really good. I really enjoyed that. So there's value in eating slowly, and I would just say, if any of you find yourself to be the kind of eaters I used to be and you bolt your food down, just try a week of eating slowly and see if you feel better for it. Anyway, that's enough waffle for 1 week, and just to say thank you to all of you who stay with me and watch my videos. We are planning a giveaway the first weekend in December, which will be the anniversary of my first getting to Target. And we have quite a nice gift, we think, as the prize for the winner. It will be announced, I think, a fortnight today. We will announce it and we'll draw it the following weekend. So keep watching. Thanks for your subscriptions. Thanks for the likes that I get. Thanks for the lovely comments. And thank you for those people who take the time to comment week after week after week. It feels like a place for meeting friends now, and I really do appreciate it. So have a good week, all of you. Remember to be honest with yourselves, because it's only you that matters. The food that you eat will only have an effect on your weight, nobody else's. And remember, it works if you work it. It won't if you don't. And I think I proved that this week. Cheers to you all. Bye.